There are places on this earth where so much pain happened in such a short amount of time that the ground itself never recovered. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, July 1863. 3 days, 51,000 soldiers dead, wounded, or missing. In just 72 hours, the largest, bloodiest battle ever fought on American soil. And when the guns finally went silent, when the smoke finally cleared, the soldiers did not all leave. Some of them are still there, walking the same fields, fighting the same battle, dying the same death, over and over and over again. Gettysburg is not just a haunted city. It is perhaps the single most haunted piece of land in the entire United States of America. And today, we are going inside the 3 places where the dead are the most restless, the most angry, the most present. Turn your lights on. Let's begin. Place number 1, the Gettysburg Battlefield itself. Not a building, not a hotel, not a mansion, the ground. The actual fields and hills and tree lines where 51,000 men fell in the summer of 1863. To understand why this place is haunted, you need to understand what happened here. The Civil War had been raging for 2 years. The Confederate Army under General Robert E. Lee had marched north into Pennsylvania. They met the Union Army here in this quiet little town, by accident almost. And for 3 days, from July 1st to July 3rd, they tore each other apart. On the second day alone, thousands of men died in a small area of boulders called Devil's Den. Soldiers were pinned behind rocks, shot at from above, bleeding into the same ground you can walk across today as a tourist. On the third day came Pickett's charge. 12,000 Confederate soldiers walked across an open field toward Union cannons and rifles. 12,000 men walked out. Less than half came back. The ones who fell were left where they lay for days in the July heat because there were simply too many of them to move quickly. This land absorbed all of it. Every scream, every prayer, every last breath of every boy who died too far from home. And it has never let it go. Park rangers who work the battlefield at night report seeing columns of soldiers marching through the early morning fog. Not reenactors, not tourists. Soldiers in full uniform, moving silently through the mist and then dissolving into nothing. Visitors on tours hear cannon fire with no source, no explanation, no reenactment scheduled. Photographers visiting Devil's Den develop their photos to find faces staring back at them from behind the rocks. Faces that were not there when the photo was taken. One of the most reported experiences at the battlefield happens at night. People park their cars on the road that runs along the field and turn off their engines, and they hear it. Drums. Slow, rhythmic, distant drums coming from the direction of the field. No band, no speakers, no source. Just drums in the dark from an army that has not stopped marching for 160 years. Place number 2, 10 miles west of Gettysburg, the Cashtown Inn, built in 1797. This is one of the oldest continuously operating inns in Pennsylvania, and it holds a very specific place in the horror of Gettysburg, because this is where it all began. Before the battle broke out, Confederate General A.P. Hill used the Cashtown Inn as his headquarters. Confederate soldiers flooded into this building in the days before the fighting started. They slept in these rooms. They ate at these tables. They sharpened their bayonets and loaded their rifles and prepared themselves for what was coming. Many of them walked out of this inn toward the battlefield and never came back. The inn became a field hospital during and after the battle. The floors that Confederate soldiers had walked across just days before were now covered in the wounded and dying. Surgeons worked around the clock, Amputations were performed on kitchen tables, on floors, in hallways. Men screamed through the night. Men died through the night. The walls of this building heard all of it. Today, the Cashtown Inn operates as a bed and breakfast. Guests come to stay in the historic rooms and experience a piece of Civil War history. But the history has never fully checked out. Guests in the upstairs rooms are woken in the early hours of the morning by the sound of heavy boots walking slowly across the floor above them. There is no floor above them. A Confederate soldier has been seen sitting in the chair in the corner of room 4. He sits completely still, watching whoever is sleeping in the bed. When guests reach for the light switch, the chair is empty. The smell of pipe tobacco drifts through certain rooms at night with no explanation. No one in the inn is smoking. The smell simply appears, lingers for minutes, and disappears. Staff members say the basement is the most active part of the building, where the most critical surgeries were performed, where the most men took their last breath. No one goes into that basement alone after midnight. Not anymore. And place number 3, 401, Baltimore Street, downtown, Gettysburg. The Farnsworth House Inn. From the outside, it looks like a beautiful, well-preserved 19th century home right in the heart of Gettysburg. But look closely at the south wall. Look very closely. You will count over 100 bullet holes still visible in the brick. 100 bullet holes that have been there since July 18th, 63. During the battle, Confederate sharpshooters used this building as a sniper nest. They climbed to the upper floors and fired down on Union soldiers moving through the streets below. One of those sharpshooters is believed to have accidentally killed a young civilian woman named Jenny Wade. She was the only civilian killed during the entire Battle of Gettysburg. She was baking bread for Union soldiers in a house just down the street when a bullet came through the door. She was 20 years old. The sharpshooters in this building fired hundreds of rounds over 3 days. How many of those rounds found their mark will never be fully known, but the guilt of what happened in these rooms never left the building. Today, the Farnsworth House Inn is a restaurant, a bed and breakfast, and one of the most aggressively haunted locations in all of Gettysburg. The ghost most often encountered here is known as Mary. She is believed to be the spirit of a woman who lost her child during the battle. Guests see her in the hallways, standing, waiting, looking for something or someone. She appears most often near the children's rooms. The Harper room on the upper floor is considered the most haunted room in the building. Guests report their belongings being moved while they sleep. Jewelry placed on the dresser at night is found arranged differently in the morning. Suitcases are found open when they were left closed. Cold spots appear and disappear in the middle of the room, with no window, no vent, no draft to explain them. And sometimes guests wake to find someone sitting on the edge of their bed, a weight they can feel, a presence they can sense. And when they turn to look, the room is empty, but the weight remains for a few seconds longer, as if whatever was sitting there is not quite ready to leave yet. 3 places, 1 battlefield, soaked in the blood of 51,000 men who never got to go home. 1 inn where soldiers prepared for battle came back broken, and some never left at all. 1 house with 100 bullet holes in the wall, and a guilt that has lasted longer than anyone alive can remember. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. People visit this city every single year, thinking they are coming to see history, and they are right. But history in Gettysburg does not stay behind the glass of a museum. It walks the streets with you. It follows you back to your hotel room. It sits on the edge of your bed and watches you sleep. Because for the soldiers who died here, the battle never ended. The war never ended. They are still here, Still fighting, still waiting for something that is never going to come. If this video kept you up at night, good. Drop a comment below. Would you spend a night alone in the Cashtown Inn, in the Farnsworth House, on the battlefield at 3 a.m. with no phone signal? Tell me honestly, and subscribe if you want to go deeper into the darkest quarters of America, because we have barely scratched the surface. The worst is still coming.